If you take a kind of meta look at the entertainment industry and all the different kind of mediums and fields, from movies to music, books, they all follow pretty much the same method of dissemination. I don't think anyone would argue that the majority of entertainment that's out there, that's consumed, is derived from what we would label mainstream sources. And it's just so normal to us because that's how it's always been. But it hasn't always been like that. Whatever is mainstream today had at one point its naissance. There was a creative spark born of creative people that gave birth to what eventually would become a mainstream source of entertainment. Think back to the early filmmakers, or the earliest plays in ancient Greece, or come forward to the birth of, say, something like jazz or hip-hop, and just look at how, over time, an entire medium is taken over and put under the control of governing bodies and large hierarchical institutions. And it's always been inevitable that that was going to take place, because for every product there needs to be an audience, and for that product to be delivered to the audience required varying kinds of distribution systems, whether that be record labels and music stores, radios, movies and cinemas, books and bookstores and publishers. It's always been that way because it always needed to be that way. Until now. From a historical perspective, the sudden shift away from that being a necessity has come at breakneck speed, and many industries are about to feel the whiplash from that sea change. In a span of under a decade, Netflix has gone from a insignificant system of renting movies to the largest studio in the world. And that's because of almost entirely the explosion of the digital landscape. Direct to customer delivery. Of all the kinds of entertainment that exists out there, there's one single medium that seems preordained to take advantage of this new way of delivering content directly to customers. And that one medium is comic books. Unlike professional film, sport, music, video games, comic books have everything going for them in terms of getting a professional quality product directly into the hands of a waiting consumer. You don't need a big studio, you don't need stadiums, you don't need prohibitively expensive equipment. All you need is skill and a connection to the internet. And that fact has been playing out on Indiegogo for 2 years now, and it's only going from strength to strength. Even mediums that are most similar to comics in terms of being able to get their product out onto the internet, things like novels and tabletop games, even they have fundamental elements that make it that much more difficult for a viable network of independent creators to rise up and create a working model of distributing their content. The problem with novels is anyone can write one, assuming quality is no factor. So the market is just flooded with unreadable garbage, and there's no way other than word of mouth to differentiate the wheat from the chaff. And the problem with tabletop gaming, as far as I can see it, is that particular community, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to stage any kind of push to escape the all-encompassing web of social justice ideologues that control every aspect of what's going on in that space. But as we all know, comic books did escape, An ark was built, and it's been rescuing creators from obscurity ever since, giving unknowns their first real shot at professional comic book making and propelling professionals who were brave enough to stand out on their own and propel themselves into the stratosphere. I was listening to a stream on Comic Artist Pro Secrets the other day, and there was an argument going on in the chat with one particular mod. And once that stream was over, that mod and a bunch of others went over to a stream on Cecil's show and had it out there live on the stream. And the argument seemed to center around what exactly is Comicsgate in 2020. And on one side, we had a guy trying to say it was a product or a brand. And on the other side, unanimously, was the argument that no, Comicsgate is the fans. And if you look across the landscape on YouTube and Twitter and you see all the crowdfunding campaigns, it's really difficult to deny that Comicsgate is a group of fans and subscribers that reach into at least over 100,000 people. They may not all be buying Comicsgate books, but they're certainly paying attention to what's going on. And they're agreeing with what Comicsgate is trying to do here. Without them, there is no Comicsgate. They are Comicsgate. Cecil said that Comicsgate creators are probably about 500 people, and I wondered if that number was accurate. So I actually went to Indiegogo and just started counting all the people involved in all the projects going all the way back to Jawbreakers. And sure, I must have missed some people. I even looked at campaigns that were upcoming. I got as high as 170 people. There's a lot of overlap between a lot of the projects. And I'm counting people who I know probably don't even consider themselves Comicsgate, but because they've been the colorist on a Comicsgate book, I just included them. So if you take out them and maybe factor in people that I just missed because you can't count everyone, I think the creator side of Comicsgate is actually probably under 200. So compare that to 100,000 people, 100,000 fans out there who believe in agenda-free comics, who believe in treating fans with the respect that they deserve. The creator to fan ratio is minuscule. It doesn't even make up 1% of the entirety of what Comicsgate is. So when someone says Comicsgate is the fans, that's literal. None of this happens without a dedicated group of fans who are out there watching content, sharing content, and a super dedicated group of them who are out there buying all this stuff. Another point that often gets brought up about Comicsgate is that we gatekeep. And we're no better than the SJWs who took over comics, the SJWs who took over games, and every other piece of entertainment that's out there. And it's true. Comicsgate does gatekeep. But remember what I just said. Comicsgate is the fans. So when I say Comicsgate gatekeeps, what I'm saying is the fans gatekeep. That is nothing like the gatekeeping that happens at, say, Marvel, DC, or any other entertainment medium out there. It's not top down. It's gatekeeping from the bottom up. That's what makes it so different. And that is one of the key reasons why it will succeed into the future. Why have we seen entertainment across the board decline in quality? Because so many of these large mainstream entertainment mediums are to differing degrees insulated from customer feedback. It doesn't matter if something sells or not. It doesn't matter what the fans think of it. You get people failing upwards and large corporations figuring out ways to make money despite a decline in quality. This has happened in music, it's happening in film, it's happened in books, it's happened in everything. because they're all following this same old system of middlemen and management and corporation, all standing between the creative and the customer. Take out all that nonsense and make the creators answerable directly to the customer, and you've flipped everything on its head. And give the customer, the fans, the power to demand the kinds of entertainment that they actually want. That's all we're saying when we're saying gatekeeping. The fans know the kind of toxic rot that can set in once something becomes popular. They recognize the tone policing and the identity politics and the pandering and everything that diminishes the quality of a creative piece of work. And in our system, they will let the creator know directly that this is not what they signed up for. There's no failing upwards in Comicsgate. And that is going to mean a continuing improvement of the quality of our product compared to everyone else's. And like I said before, who else can do what we're doing? You can't have a great idea for the best video game ever and make it by yourself in your living room. You can't get a top-notch movie put together with A-list actors just because you have a great idea. None of that is possible, but it is possible in comic books. You can be one man with a colorist and a letterer and create the best book that came out in all of comic books, like Ethan Van Sciver did with Cyberfrog. That's why this system can work. We can do it, and unlike every other system, it's the fans who keep the rot out and keep the creators doing what they need to be doing. We're nothing like the others. We've given the power back to the people. And if you want to be a Comicsgate creator, you have to understand that and accept it. And you're putting your creation and your success directly into the hands of the fans. But in doing so, you're joining the most innovative, aspirational, and downright awesome collection of books that are going to be put out in comics for many years to come. Hi, I'm Michael Bancroft, writer and artist of The Lucent. Going on 5 years now, I've been passionately working on my magnum opus, a fantasy graphic novel that blurs the line between dreams and reality. My first book in the series, Waking Dream, introduces readers to the mysterious world of the Lucent, a place that on the surface looks not too dissimilar from the world you know, but where nothing is quite as it seems. It's a place where powerful enemies hide in plain sight, fighting ancient battles for control of the future. Here we meet Ella Forsyth, a young woman who by all accounts appears to be living a low-key life. But in her dreams, she's hiding a secret with the power to turn everything we know upside down. Sign up now to be notified by email when this campaign goes live, and you'll receive an exclusive postcard if you go on to back the book. For regular updates, follow me on Twitter at The Lucent Comic. Together, we can create something that's truly memorable. See you at launch.